It's costing us a little over $4 billion to get everything together. I'm talking about when we have finished the elegant corridor, for example, in Rose Hall, and then we have the development of Ocho Rios, Negril, Montego Bay, $4 billion worth of infrastructure development to enhance the resort areas. We're working with the environmental teams in terms now of coastal water quality, and that's a big issue. We're dealing with the sewage systems, and to ensure that the problems that we are having now will be reduced and hopefully eliminated down the road. The government of Jamaica is committed, I can tell you that, to ensuring sustainable development in tourism. And sustainable development means an environmentally pure development. It's going to take us some time. We're coming from behind the eighth ball, if you will. Because in the old days, development wasn't planned, it just happened. And with the squatter settlements just mushrooming all around the place, we're heavily challenged. But the housing problems are being dealt with, not at the pace that we would want. But Montego Bay, for example, is seeing a real renaissance in housing development, particularly around the areas of Rose Hall, where the larger hotels are going and where the development is really moving at pace. And so we're going beyond that, and Minister Chang has developed a program to deal with the Ocho Rios problem. You know, that squatter settlement on top of Duns River Falls. I hear you, and I hear you well. But that one is being dealt with. In fact, we've been able to move most of the squatters already. And development is taking place elsewhere for them. So thank you for those comments and the questions, in fact, because they are at the root of what is going to make the industry continue to work for us and to provide for the people of this country.
Thank you. Mr. Minister, one of the debilitating factors to the tourism industry in Jamaica, I imagine, is crime, which is a problem we're also having in Trinidad, because I've been reading a lot about the travel advisories coming from North America and Europe and various embassies abroad with regard to the crime rates in the Caribbean, and Jamaica is singled out as having one of the highest. How does your ministry propose to counteract these perceptions and the reality of crime that is escalating in Jamaica today? Thank you.
That, I must tell you, is a challenge. But you know, we developed an advertising program, and we had a tagline which said, once you go, you know. And it is true that crime is at an all-time high. But it is equally true that crime against tourists is almost infinitesimal and compares favorably with all the leading destinations of the world. And we are struggling to make sure that we clean up our acts in Jamaica in terms of criminal activity. Only this evening the Prime Minister outlined a raft of measures to deal with the crime situation. The world must, however, feel that we are dealing with it. And I think the failure on our part over the period has been that we have not made it too plain to the world that we are dealing with the crime problem effectively. But I agree with you, it's our biggest concern. I just came out of Europe, and that's a major concern in Europe. Major concern. We are saved, however, by the fact that these Caribbean people, these Jamaican people, are so hospitable, they're so warm to visitors, it's unbelievable. They give visitors the time of their life, and yet they destroy their own. And it leads me to something that I have said before and will be pushing very hard in this service excellence program that we are pursuing. We must learn to serve ourselves. Jamaicans don't know how to serve one another. We can serve foreigners, yes. And it reflects itself in the relationship and our behavior towards one another. So we will destroy each other, but we protect the visitor. And that has been saving us, because when the visitors leave here and go back to their destination, they are your biggest allies. They really spread the word about how wonderful Jamaica is and what a great vacation they have had. And so I have to answer you this way, because I have to let you know we are concerned about the crime. Yes, terribly so. But I also want to tell you that it is a miracle. It is amazing that with all of this problem with crime in Jamaica, Jamaica continues to be the growth destination in the Caribbean.
Thank you again for all your questions. CaPRI has a surprise this evening. We, in our commitment to evidence-based policymaking and throwing out a number of different options for the Caribbean, tonight we would like to present copies of a report that we did in collaboration with our one of our Canadian partner institutions, the Center for International Governance Innovation in Canada. Last summer, actually, we worked together on a paper called Beyond Tourism, the Future of the Services Industry in the Caribbean, and thought that, considering the minister's mention of medical tourism and a number of the different niche markets within tourism and in the services industry in general, that we would like to present the first 2 copies of this printed report here in the Caribbean to the Minister of Tourism tonight, and that this report will also be available this week at the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, better known as CaPRI. And you can talk to any of our CaPRI personnel here, especially myself, for details as to how to get copies of this report.